Hi everybody, welcome to week 6. My name is Liza Wolf Graham and I'll be going over image sizing and compression. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right in. We'll start off with an example of a digital image, and this is just a stock photo I got from Adobe Stock Photo. And just as a reminder, you can always find stock photos at Adobe Stock Photo or at Pixels. So I'll be using this one. So to kind of go over the image really quick, I just want to explain what an image is. An image is made up of pixels. Pixels are just a bunch of little dots of colors that make up an image. And when you're on a computer, it makes up what's called a bitmap. And basically, if I zoom in here, you'll see that it's on a grid, and you'll see like little lines of with little squares in it. And those are pixels, and it's in a bitmap. And the reason why that's important is because when it comes to compression, it's basically reducing the file size of these bitmap images. Now, one thing that we want to take in consideration, well, actually two things, is when you're looking into compression, there's two types of compressions to pay attention to. Those types are lossy and lossless. And so let me start with this one. So first, lossy compression refers to when some of the data is removed from the original file. And one of the benefits from that is it makes the file size a lot smaller. And so you lose some quality, but you also have a much smaller file size, which makes it load faster on your websites. And so here's the difference between, the lossy and lossless. Now, lossless is a high quality image, and you still can reduce the file size and you'll have much better quality, but the trade-off is that the file is still going to be really large. And so I just want to show, a few examples of the lossy and lossless. As you can see with this one that we're looking at under lossless, you'll see that it's a really sharp image. You can see it pretty clear and clean. When you look over at the lossy size, you do lose some of that data that we were talking about, and it becomes a little more pixelated. If we look at the dog above, it's the same thing. You have the original file size, and then at 50%, it doesn't look that bad at 50%, to be honest, and lossy. And even at 80%, it doesn't look that bad. So it just kind of depends on which one you want to use. A lot of people who are like photographers, they'll use lossless. Videographers will use lossless. So it just kind of depends on the website you're building and what you're trying to show. I personally use lossy a lot, just because it loads faster, and it's not so much that we're just that I'm trying to show like photography that much. And so just kind of think about that while you're choosing. They both work great, and it's just kind of up to you on how you want to go about it. And the other thing I want to point out is lossy is more of a JPEG format. So for instance, like image.jpg, that's the format, the extension at the end. And so as you can see, this is a JPEG, and that's in the lossy format. And then in lossless would be the PNG and the GIF. And so they all look really great. The PNG is the best file for high quality photos, for lossless compression. But either one looks great. It just really depends on which one you want to use. So that's compression in a nutshell. And so we'll move on now to editing a photo. And so I just want to kind of first go over photo editors. And the one that I'm using is Adobe Photoshop. I work on photo image sizing and compression like on a daily basis, especially because I make websites. And so I'm always using Photoshop in and out. And when you work as a web developer, and especially a web designer, you do need to know Photoshop and Illustrator. It's like you have to, because you'll be resizing images, and manipulating images, retouching them. You'll just be using it a lot, especially as a web designer. And so that's something you want to really get familiar with, especially with understanding the tools. And so Photoshop's my baby. I definitely love it. But there's some other photo editors that work really great because Photoshop does cost. There's some that don't. And so there's GIMP. This is a really good one. I've used it before. This will help you get the job done. And also there's Pixlr. And I really like both of them. I think that they work really good as alternatives from Photoshop. And even like on my computer with my Mac, it comes with Preview and you can just resize images there too. But for today's example, I'll be using Photoshop. And so here we are in the screen. So the first thing I want to do is let me go to where I got the file from. So under images is this image of this man. And so basically I'm just going to close it so I can show you how to reopen it. So basically you can open it two ways. You can either drag the image over the icon and it will open, or you can just click on it and open it, you know, right click and open it with Photoshop. And so I'm going to do that. And so here's our image. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check the file size. And I'm going to go up to image, come down to image size, and here will be the file size. And so as you can see, it has the width and the height. Next to it, it tells you what it's being measured in. And so this image is 5,942 pixels, which is a really big image. Definitely high resolution. And just so you know, you can always drop this down if you want to change it. For instance, if we want to look at this in inches, it's 19 inches wide and 13 inches high. And so it's, you know, it's a big photo for sure. So let's go back to pixels though, because that's what, you know, we always use in the web world when we're trying to resize these images. And then if you look down under resolution, you'll see it's 300. 300 is more in a print. It's more for printing. And so what we want to use is we want to use 72, because 72 is what you're going to see on the web. And so as you see, as I dropped it down to 72, look at the width already. It went down to 1,426 in pixels. And that's a great size to use for your website. I mean, you could even go lower if you wanted. Like, we could just change the number if we wanted to go down to like 1,000. Or even lower, you know, you can go down to 800. But as you see, as we're moving it, the height will automatically adjust so that this is sized correctly. And so I'm just going to go back to, I can't remember what it was, but let's just say we'll go back to 1200. So I'm going to go back to 1200, and then I'm going to go ahead and commit and say, okay. Now to see the image, you can either click on this and it will, you know, zoom in, or up at the top, you can have it zoom in to 100, zoom to fit your screen, zoom to fill your screen. There's just a lot of different ways that you can use this. And so if I go too big like that, I can always just hit Command 0 and it resets the image for me. So here we are. Here we are in the image. Now I'm going to crop this a little. Not too much, but I'm going to go ahead and just hit the crop tool right here. Also in Photoshop, just so you know, when you click and hold it down, it gives you other tool options, but I'm just going to use crop for right now. And then I'm just going to bring this up and bring it down a little. I'm not going to crop it too much. And here we go. This is a really nice cropped image. And so now we're going to go ahead and save it. And so if you go up to the file, you see that you have a couple options. You have save and save as. We're not going to use this for web. We want to make sure that this is optimized to its best for viewing on a website. So we're going to go down to export, and under export you'll see save for web. And there's also a shortcut to show you how to get there a little faster. But we're just going to go ahead, click save for web. And then here you will see, you know, it just has a bunch of information, your image size, just everything you need to know. At the top right, you'll see that you have the choice to do the drop down and choose between like a GIF and the different types, or JPEG or PNG. We're going to go ahead and save this as a JPEG with high quality. And as you can see, you can also choose the type of quality level you want. It'll just kind of preview here in the screen. This is the preview. Also in the bottom left, you'll see like the file size, you'll see what quality you're at. And so we're just gonna leave it where it was at though. I'm just gonna leave it at the 60, and I'm gonna leave it at high and optimize. And so I'm just gonna leave it where it's at. I'm gonna hit save. So I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna rename this to say man1, have it go to that folder. And then let me just drag this over in here to compare the two images. So now we have the man image, which was the original, and the man one. And as you can see, there's already a difference. I'll go slower, but you have the original one, and it's just a lot more taller. And then you have the cropped version. And so the crop version kind of makes it look more of a wider shot. And just so you know, this image is called landscape, so it's in a wide shot. So I want to show a couple things. If you're on a Mac, you can just click on the image just like that. And if you hit Command I, you can bring up the image information. And so this, I'm going to bring up the image information for the man, and then another one for the one we just cut, resized. And as you see right here, for a high JPEG version, we already modified it a lot. This one was saying that it was 5.7 megabytes, and then after resizing it, it's only 106 kilobytes. And like, that's a lot that we already reduced the file size in. And so as you can see, reducing the file size does make it a lot better, and it's gonna help with putting it on the website and making it load faster. And so that is image resizing, or image sizing and compression. If you have any questions, feel free to just drop in the discussion board. I'd be happy to answer any. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.